Good evening, fellow South Africans and citizens of the world. And each one, help one, asked, what are the goals of this channel? Well, probably the primary goal of this channel is to alert the world to what is actually going on in South Africa, because the mainstream media have completely failed in that task. Now, tonight, we're going to be talking to two very, very interesting people. We're talking to Izak van Zyl, who heads up the Boerelegioen, and we're also talking to Marius Roos, who has a very interesting outfit called EBS. And neither of these guys have met each other before, so this is going to be the first time they've met each other. They're both doing outstanding work in South Africa, and I'm hoping that after tonight's live stream, they will work quite closely together, because there's a tremendous synergy in what they do there. Okay, so let's get this going, shall we? I'll call them up and we'll get the show on the road. I'm going to call up Izak first. Hi Izak, good to see you.
Sorry, stay this side.
Give me a second while I just call up Marius, okay? What I'll do is I'll ask you a question once I've introduced you to Marius about exactly what Boerelegioen is all about, and then I'll do the same with Marius and EBS. Let's just call in Marius now.
Okay.
Okay, well look, while we're waiting for Marius to join us, actually I think he's coming on now. while we're waiting for Marius to join us, can you just tell the listeners exactly what Boerelegioen does? Just in a few sentences.
While we're waiting for Marius to join us, can you just tell the listeners exactly what...
I've got your audio coming through on the... if you can just turn that audio down.
Okay. Can you hear me?
I can hear you beautifully, yeah. I'll just try Marius again.
Okay, I have to tell you what Boerelegioen is all about.
Yes, yeah.
Alright, Boerelegioen is a civil defense organization that we established in 2016 when we started the hashtag Boerelegioen, where we analyzed the situation in the country relating to the escalating civil violence. And during March 2017, we started the official organization, a civil defense organization called Boerelegioen.
Right. Marius,
we established...
good to see you here. Sorry, Marius has just joined us. Marius, meet Izak. Izak, meet Marius.
Hello, Marius. Nice to meet you.
Now, Marius, what we're doing is we're just doing a brief summary of what the organizations do, and I just got Izak started in that because we were waiting to get a connection with you. Sorry, carry on, Izak, about Boerelegioen.
Right, during March 2017, we established a formal structure, and that collaborated very well with the battle in Kulini, when the two white guys allegedly threw the black guy from the bakkie, and the local community went up in arms, and there was lots of violence relating to about 5 houses that was burned down. We were there to try to get the Boer people together and organize them within the right side of the law, within the ambits of the law.
Right.
And that was the start of the Boerelegioen, where we realized that we are not going to win this battle when we try to stick to the principles of green light patrols and the CPF principles and the Buurtwag principles, where we use untrained people to only do visible patrolling and crime prevention operations.
Right.
We saw a third dimension where we realized that we have to organize into street gangs, into street platoons, civilian platoons, training people, employ them within the ambits of the vicinity, the steining, die straatblokke, die woongebiede, that's what we started to do in 2017 already, and now we are in 2019, and I look back and I see progress. And part of our vision is to take hands with all organizations, all civil organizations.
Right.
Where our people are involved. That includes the CPF, the Buurtwag, the police reservists, all the boereveiligheidsorganisaties. We are in close conjunction, and we are working at this stage in close conjunction with people like Stormloop, the AWB, many other organizations. We also formed a confederation of boereveiligheidsorganisaties, and there we are, as leaders, we are talking to each other.
Right.
On a daily basis, and we are engaging in proper training. Our training are standing on two pillars. The one pillar is the training of reaction forces within your towns and your woongebiede and your voorstede. And the second pillar we are standing on is the training of commandos, civilian people. Right. That we call the POSCO training. That is basic training in self-defense, handling of firearms, close battle, close combat, and stuff like that.
Okay. Now, handing over to you, Marius. Marius, tell us about EBS, this fantastic little project you've set up.
Yes, Scott, good evening. Yes, EBS, we've only started, as everybody knows, it was in July. We're busy now with the second semester that we're doing training. So the first 3 months was a pilot project, and it worked out very well. What we do is we take, please take a note, we take white boys from informal settlements. They come voluntarily to the farm where they subject themselves to various military disciplines for 3 months. After 3 months, we do get in place farmers in groups of 2 to 2, where they help the farmer on their farm work and where they can do proper security on the farm. That's the one leg. The other leg is what we're also busy now is these guys that does not want to get out to the farmers, they stay behind on the farm. And we are trying to get a permanent base or permanent reaction force here consisting of youngsters 19 to 22 that we can get together by the numbers. And the day when there is something happening in South Africa, these guys can be deployed. They fight for what they do in 3 months. They fight highly competitively trained, not what the normal I could do in 2 years.
Right.
Training in the South African Defence Force.
Now, Izak, is there something you'd like to ask Marius? Because you can see there's a tremendous synergy between your two organizations here.
Yeah, there is actually a very good synergy, except for the fact that we are, in fact, a military structure. We are structured all around South Africa, in most of the big towns, smaller towns, in the voorstede van die stede. We have different regions within the cities: Pretoria, Johannesburg, East Rand, West Rand, and we are engaged in training all the time. Every week we have training, the POSCO training, what we call. Out of that training, we identify the strong guys, die weerbare man. Identifiseer ons daar en ons trek hulle na ons reaksiemagopleiding toe wat in die Outeniqua berge in die Weskaap, in die Suid-Kaap aangebied word. And that part is similar to what Marius is doing. And I don't know if Marius are employing the people physically. Is he seeking work for the people? Because what we are doing, we are trying to do it, and I think we succeeded in the past quite a great percentage to get to some of these unemployed boys from the street, give them proper reaction force training, and while they are under training, security companies come and recruit the guys, and right. From there they employ them and they give them work. So I think on that part we can work together and try to get proper jobs for this young men.
Yeah. Now Marius is in KwaZulu-Natal. Marius, just in response to Izak's question about your organization, would you like to respond to that?
Yes. Compared to the Boerelegioen, we've only been now for the 4th month. And as I said, the second leg of this organization is to give your own staff. As I said before, imagine going to all the white and informal settlements in South Africa, we do recruitment there for the ages between 19 and 22. They sit there and they eat maize meal, and after they have their maize meal that the farmers feed them, they sit there and they use it anyway. So the whole idea is to get them out of that situations, get them to the central point with a standard SOP, by the hundreds, by the thousands, train them, tough military with a combat ready, and the day when you need them, you don't have to call people in reserve base. And the whole idea is not only in one province, it's later to establish branches in all the other provinces that you can Africa. I don't like to work with quantity. I'll rather work with quality. I think I'll gain a lot more with quantity than with quality. With quality and with quantity. Numbers is not going to work.
Yeah. Well, I saw your video that you produced, and wow, some of the stuff those kids are doing is amazing. You know, the training you're giving them is excellent. Now, I want to talk to you, Izak, about, you said you're reaching out to all these different groups in South Africa, so you can all work together. Have you had any contact with Hein Marks of the ULA?
No, I didn't have physical contact with him because there is apparently the guys, we are in close collaboration trying to do the sort of internal self-determination. They are not talking to each other at this moment.
Isn't that sad?
I believe that in future there will be the road towards the same goal will be getting narrower, and there will be a sort of agreement between the two organizations.
Right.
But we are at this stage talking to lots of the civil defense force organizations that are also closely working with Hein Marks. I'm speaking to Benal Meru from Dexter, and Dexter is one of the official safety organizations in the ULA organization or group of organizations, and we are talking we are in actual fact we are on the same groups, and we are talking to each other on a daily basis. Benal Meru is the first guy who tells people that his reaction people and the Boerelegioen on ground level are working very closely together, and there's good work relationship between the Dexter group and the Boerelegioen.
Fantastic. Now, Marius, you got a couple of the young men who you're training there, haven't you? Would you like to just introduce them?
Yes, I've got a few. You can. I stand up and I can. You shot.
Yeah. Just so Izak can meet them as well.
Okay, thank you.
Koinant, good evening. What's your name?
Izak van Zyl, how are you?
Very good, thank you. Very good. Meet Izak van Zyl from Boerelegioen. So tell us about what you're learning in this EBS project with Marius. Tell us what your experiences are, how you're enjoying it.
It's pretty enjoyable if you are tough. It's pleasantly tough, but it makes you rough, I should say.
Yeah.
A few of the things that we do some tough military training, also pretty tough military discipline, as well as close quarter hand-to-hand combat, combat intelligence, and firearm disarmament as well, abseiling, and building collapse. We have a project called MOUTH, which stands for Military Operations Urban Terrain, and if I could say so myself, I think it's pretty on point.
Fantastic. Now, Izak, is there something you'd like to ask?
No, I think I'm quite aware of what you are doing because I saw the videos and I saw the tactics and the basic moves that you are doing, and it's excellent. I have to congratulate Marius on what he's achieving with this young man, and I think we have to talk about getting you actively involved after your training, because I don't know what Marius has got in store for you after you've been trained. So what I want to suggest is that you come and join our civilian platoons and get involved in training civilians, because that is our main aim, is to get as many as possible young men and young women, civilian, ordinary working people, ordinary unemployed people, trained so that they can be closely networked with people in their immediate vicinity, at the workplace, in the places where they are staying. So whenever there's an attack on an individual, so that they can call immediately for help. And out of a platoon consists out of 36 people. And whenever there's a problem, you can just push a panic button or dial a number, and at least 10 of the 36 people will come and help you and assist you when you are in trouble. So that is our whole aim, is to get the broader population, the white population, in a position where they can defend themselves as individuals, where the men can be in a position to defend their households, where they can actively engage in the onmiddellike handelingsdrill as we are teaching them. Whenever there's danger, they have to act immediately. They don't. We had an incident in Pretoria yesterday where a man was shot in front of his child's school. One was shot in the head and the other one was shot in the stomach for a cell phone.
Crazy.
Luckily, the one victim had a gun, and he defended himself. He killed one of the attackers, but in the process, he was wounded in the stomach, and he's at this stage lying in hospital in a critical condition. And that is what we want to prevent. Is whenever danger is approaching you, you have to be ready. There's quite a few videos of young men who reacted immediately and daai kriminele het gehardloop in verskillende rigtings. En dis wat ons wil sien. And we want the guys who get trained, actively involved in normal policing activities. In the buurtwag, in your Boerelegioen patrol group, wherever you can get involved, you must get involved. But what I have to emphasize is that we are operating on the right side of the common law. We are not going into a war situation. We are not threatening the government to overthrow the government. We are not attacking other groups, ethnic groups in this country. We are not in that game. We say that everything that the law allows you to do, you can do as good as when you are at war. And on this side of the law, we are allowed to become a strong force. Whenever there is a civil war or a tipping point, we will be ready.
Fantastic.
That is my message.
Now, would you like to respond to Izak?
Well, ever since I got here, I haven't been here for very long. I've only been here for 3 weeks now, going into my 4th week. And ever since I got here, I am a patriot myself. I love my people. I love my country. And I have found great appreciation and admiration for what Marius is doing. And in my time here, I have come to the personal decision of working on his side with his standing force, and according to his training and the things he teaches us, because they work, and they work proficiently well.
Now, just a question for you. Before Marius enrolled you into this program, which apparently you don't pay a cent for this, do you? It's just something he is helping people. Am I correct in saying that?
That's exactly correct.
Fantastic. Now, before you got involved in EBS and Marius's project, what was your personal situation? What were you doing?
My personal situation wasn't pretty intense or very hard. It got hard in some points in my life, but you just push through. The reason I joined is because I have a very strong feeling about what is coming.
Yeah.
And we need all the hands that we can get. And I should have joined a long time ago. And now I'm here.
Fantastic. Now, do you want to get the next young man to come and sit down and have a chat?
Yes, no problem.
And thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Goeienaand. Good evening. And what's your name? My name's Scott, and that's Izak van Zyl from Boerelegioen that's on the screen. Sorry, what's your name? Ruben, tell me about your experiences with EBS and the project that you're involved in here.
I've been here as well for about 3 weeks now.
Yeah.
They teach me a lot, self-confidence. Yeah, and know exactly what to do now further in life.
Fantastic. Now, what did you do before you joined this program?
I was a site agent for Rainbow and for Group 5 and them.
Right.
I had made a few bad decisions in my life. So yeah, now I'm here and Uncle Marius is teaching me what to do further.
And it's helping your self-confidence?
A lot.
So you're feeling far more positive about life now?
Yes, I do.
Fantastic. Now, Izak, is there something you'd like to ask Ruben?
Ruben, when you finished with this program, I assume it is a 6-month or a year program, if I'm right. Am I right?
3 months, sir.
3 months, okay. After you completed your 3 months, what is your aim? Where are you going to actively get involved in safety or civil defense?
I'm going to stay in contact with Tango Golf and hopefully go further with them.
Okay, so what you are doing, you are creating a group which are going to operate as a unit when time comes.
Yes, we are, sir.
Okay, no, that's excellent. Because our invitation is open for every individual that gets training to get actively involved in our civilian platoons, and our invitation is open. And on that level, we can work together.
Fantastic.
And I'm fine. Thanks, sir.
Ruben, can you get the next young man to come and join us?
Yes, I'll do that. Thanks, sir.
It's just 3 of you, isn't it?
Yes, it's only 3.
Okay, just get the next young fellow on, please.
Thanks a lot, sir.
Okay, thank you, Ruben. Koinant, good evening. How are you?
I'm alright in this one.
Good, thank you. And meet Izak van Zyl from Boerelegioen. He should be on your screen there as well. So, tell me about... Tell me about your experiences with EBS, how you're enjoying it, what you're learning, etc., etc.
Okay, well, Scott, I am actually one of the Tango Golf guys. I've finished my 3 months. So I'm one of the guys that's staying behind. I'm going to be part of the reaction force that's going out to farms to keep it safe, make sure there's no farm attacks, things like that.
Fantastic. And what did you do before you came onto Marius's project? What was your situation?
I was just struggling to find work. I was really just down in the dumps when I heard about Uncle Marius and what he does, and I thought he can help, and he did. My self-confidence, my discipline, my self-discipline, all the other things he taught us. It's hard work, but if you push through it, with it.
Look, Marius is doing fantastic work. I mean, he's an amazing man. Just while we're talking about that, for those who are watching the show right now, the live stream, I've got the banking details for EBS, which is Marius's project, below this video. They are always looking for donations because obviously they've got a lot of mouths to feed and they've got to get equipment and all that sort of stuff. And also below this video, I've got a link directly to Boerelegioen's YouTube channel, so you can actually go and have a look at that and subscribe to them if you're interested in getting involved in Boerelegioen. Okay, well, thank you so much for joining us. Can we get Marius back in front of the camera?
Thank you, Scott.
Hi, Marius. Welcome back. Three wonderful young men, and you're doing fantastic work with them. Izak, is there something you'd like to say to Marius about the guys who we've just been talking to?
Hey Marius, ek moet jou geluk wens. Ek dink jy doen uitstekende werk met hierdie jong manne en ons moet hierdie ouens volhoubaar. We have to get them on a continuous basis employed, actively involved. Hulle moet in oefening bly. Hierdie ouens wat hierdie tipe opleiding kry, moet in oefening bly en al maniere hulle regtig in oefening kan bly is as hulle kom.
Izak,
betrokke raak by die deurlopende opleiding.
Isaac, we got a lot of people from overseas watching. Can you say that in English?
Hey, ek het nou sommer oorgeslaan Afrikaans toe. Okay, Marius, I think what we have to do is to get, if you are not able to get full employment for those guys. I know you are doing a good job, but we have to get them actively involved, and we have to get them where they are staying, where their families are staying, hulle gesinne. Moet ons hulle probeer werk kry en ons moet hulle betrek by die burgerlike veiligheid binne in die dorpe. Dan gaan hulle in oefening bly en hulle gaan heeltyd in opleiding bly, want dit is belangrik. What I've learned in life is that you do training and specialized training for long and ongoing basis for one or two incidents that happens. And that is what we are engaging our people in, is to getting them involved in training. Then there's an incident, they know what to do. And there's a long time going on before there's another incident. I was for instance, in the police, in the reaction forces, and for the 4 years I served there was 5 contacts. Only 5, and we got the best training in the world.
Fantastic. Now, Marius, is there something you'd like to ask Isaac at this stage before we continue with the live stream?
Now, I'll just quickly want to add that what the people have to remember, these 3 months that the people that actually submitted here for various military disciplines, very tough, and as Yeshua said, we do now, that's military operations and urban terrain. We actually know how to breach buildings, how to walk down passages, how to clear rooms. With that, we also add building collapse. So when we do have to do an operation, or we have to do something that executing an operation that it is a building collapse that terminate the mission, it will end up in a rescue mission. There's a lot of things that we do, like abseiling, close quarter combat. Most of these, like you can see on my t-shirt, there's a sign here that says Tango Golf. This is my own, the people that stays behind. These people go ongoing training, ongoing, more than like Space Mach, every day, in and out. The whole idea is to get 30, 40, 50 youngsters like this. They're not on a standby situation, they're permanent. They stay in the tent, they get training, and then if anything happens, immediately respond. As I said, I just want to clear something out, just to say, these guys of mine, they will not go out to any farm attack. There's a lot of liberals out there that handed out their farms to blacks voluntary. There's a lot of liberals, CABLZAJJ Afrikaners, that voted yes with the referendum in the 90s. So now they have problems with their own pendants. So our people will only go for our own sake, and that's the ethnic group, the Boer, not really the farmer. So the people have to make a very clear distinction between that. Another thing that I wanted to add is all these guys that go out to farms in 2 groups, don't send them out in one. They can't operate effectively only by 2 guys. Like every second month, they can get to see that, they come back to the farm. They're refresh.
Okay, now, Marius, we're losing a bit of audio.
Yes, okay.
Oh, yeah, that's better if you sit forward, yeah. So just repeat the last couple of sentences.
Now, what I said is, what we do is that we do, when we're going to react, we're only going to react to a farmer, referring to a Boer, referring to an ethnic group, the Boer nation that came through the Anglo-Boer War, etc., etc. There's 2 cultures in South Africa. The Boer, that's the ethnic group, just the CABLZAJJ Afrikaner, that's the people that voted yes the referendum in the 90s. Those are the people that give their farms to the workers, that negotiate and all that. So when we have to respond, I just have to make it clear, we only go for people that's by heart part of the Boer ethnic group, and not for the liberal.
Okay.
There's no sense for me. Yes. Okay.
Okay, now, You had a terrible farm fire a few weeks ago, didn't you? Tell us what happened.
Yes, I had it like a month ago. We had a big fire that started here on a weekend, and it came through. There's a lot of forest, the pine forest that belong to a big farming company here, and it just came down like hell. And all the guys from EBS helped the surrounding farmers and their specific farm the whole day on the Sunday fighting these fires. And the day, or that later that evening, about 9, 10 o'clock, when the fire approached my farm, it actually jumped the fence, even if we had fire break. And when it went through my fence, all the farmers here, they just stopped and they said, sorry, they can't help us. You're on your own. And they just said, listen, Marius, you and your boys have to evacuate the camp. The whole farm burned down, trailers, there's no grazing. The next day, not one of these farmers actually came out to assist or to ask, are we okay? But the whole day, EBS guys were actually fighting to protect their property. Then it actually escalated. Then last weekend, the Saturday, there was a farm attack in Normandy, and a lot of people contacted me and phoned me and gave me pin drops and said, can EBS go out there to assist? Then we just didn't go, and the people wanted answers. I had to go live, and I told the people, we didn't go for one reason. The first thing is, I sit with youngsters here that's 3 weeks in training. I can't expose a youngster that's only been here for 3 weeks on a thing like that. Just now it escalates, this youngster gets shot, and it just does not justify going out there with an untrained guy. The second thing is, most of these guys didn't help me when the farm went down. Most of these guys around me know that we are doing combat training for these youngsters, white Boerelegioens, and then we phase them out to farmers. None of them, since we started the training, didn't effectively say, listen, Marius, here's a piece of toilet paper for what it is worth. There's 10 kg maize meal or sugar. They didn't bother. So they said we must go out there. Then I just had this attitude and said, Scott, no offense. I've seen this DVD for this farm attack. It's an adult grown man, 40 years old. He gave 90 hectares of his farm to his workers. Something went wrong there. They attacked him, a black woman and a youngster that's 13 years old. They hit him with a knobkerrie that's as thick as his thumbs. He didn't even make an effort to stand up for his rights. And just by giving your land away, negotiating with these blacks, you already made a contract with him. You already went into agreements with him. How can we go and try to fight a battle for liberal that's already into negotiations with the government, that already gave his land away, that already voted yes in the 1993 elections or whatever? We don't do that. Yeah. So after that, there's a lot of liberals around me. The CABLZAJJ Afrikaners, and they stayed behind here with the Anglo-Boer War. Some of these British generals stayed behind here, and they intermixed with the Boer folk, and they started to speak Afrikaans. But they, I just said, didn't help us. They're quite a liberal. So there's people I can call big egg hatchery or Fina eggs in Newcastle that gave us every fourth night. They gave us eggs, 300 eggs every second week to feed the guys as well. Yeah. And after this incident, we said we don't get out to liberals. Actually, the shoe fitted them, and they felt very offended, and they withdraw their sponsorship. They call it, there's like a Buddha instantie hier, the Boerevereniging, Natal Boerevereniging, the Boer societies. There's a lot of Boer societies, farming societies. Right. After that, the people find they wanted to have meetings. Everybody's boycotting me. And for the simple reason, I don't go around. The people know where I'm standing for. I know where I'm going for. I'm not scared of my past. I'm not scared of my future. And I think there's a nice saying that says, be careful what you tolerate. You're teaching people how to treat you. So I've drawn a line there. Still getting this flack from all the people around me, but I'm standing my man, I'm standing my stand, and as I said in Afrikaans, I'm one of those bitter einders. I'm not going to give up. I'm still going to take these oaths and I'm going to go.
Yeah, okay. Now, one of the things that I found really interesting, Izak, is that in your last video that you put up on your YouTube channel, you talked about what's normal and what is not normal. And, there were some really interesting points you made there, because just listening to what Marius is saying is that, the whole moral society, or the moral compass of society seems to have just gone completely down to the bottoms of the earth. And a lot of that is because of the programs that have been brought in and taught at schools. I mean, there's this new, what's it called, sex education course or something like that, where they're teaching kids as young as 10 years old that it's okay to be gay or to be homosexual, which to me is just not on. I mean, at a kid that age. Now, do you just want to talk about that? Because I think this is pretty well what Marius is saying, is that, you know, we've got standards, we've got morals, and they've just been totally undermined by these people. Do you want to add to that, Isaac?
Yeah, definitely, Scott. Thank you for the opportunity. I spoke about what is normal and what is abnormal in my previous video, and I referred solely to the moral downfall in South Africa. That started already in the 60s. And it was an escalating thing that happened, the immorality amongst the young people. The free sex that started in the United States of America.
Yeah.
And they normalized this stuff over a period of time, brainwashing the people to think and to live this abnormal stuff as to become a normal way of living. And that is against the Christian morality, the Christian value system that me and Marius' generation grew up with.
Right.
When I was a young boy, I wasn't exposed to drugs. I wasn't exposed to Satanism. I wasn't exposed to all this immorality. In my generation, most of the girls were virgins when they got married.
Mm.
Now, I don't know whether there's 1% of our white population in South Africa, women, that are virgins when they get married. Because we are exposed to this over a period of time, and we are brainwashed in South Africa.
Yeah.
To believe everything. I believe that in the United States they're having a campaign to normalize Satanism. They are building the Luciferian churches now all over.
Oh, wow.
And the Satanism as a religion becomes a normality in society, where they offer animals, they slaughter cats, and even human fetuses.
Oh, no.
So they make people to believe that this stuff is normal. And that is part of our problem in South Africa. We as a white Christian nation and a white Christian folk were brainwashed over a period, and then we got divided in our ways of thinking when they started to split the churches in the early 1900s. In the 1800s already. The churches got their first splits. When the NG Kerk became 3 sister churches. And then the politics split. We got the saps and the nuts, the liberals and the conservatives. And that way of thinking, you can draw it right through up to 2019, where you get the liberals and you get the conservatives. And the conservatives are the ones who are treasuring the moral values of society. And we are fighting, and that is why we are involved in internal self-determination. Because we believe we have the right to determine what our children are exposed to. We have the right to protect our privacy. We have the right to protect our right to own property. And we have the right to be kept safe by the government. And if they don't do that, we can take over that role. And that's what we are in the Boerelegioen are trying to do in our communities. We want to take control over the safety of our innocent citizens. And that's a starting point of taking back our towns and our societies. In every town in South Africa, there is a history lying there.
Yeah.
The history of each town, you can draw it back to the voortrekkers.
Yeah.
The people who started to farm around that town, and they built a town out of the farming farmers that got together. They built a church. They built a community center. They started to grow an economy in the town. And that is the proof that the white people are the first people in each and every town in South Africa. The locations, the townships came afterwards. It was the black people that came seeking for jobs.
Yeah.
And I think the biggest mistake we ever made as white people.
I'm sure
to allow that.
I'm sure that Marius would agree with you. Marius, do you want to add to what Isaac's just been talking about?
I totally agree with Isaac there. And as I said, these liberals or these governments, they took, they take away our dignity, they take away our jobs with DE, with laws, the land. And I think we just tolerate that. And I think we basically lost everything. Now they're busy making us find this. And if we're not going to take a stand very soon, I think we will just go down in the books as a Boer nation on paper. I think we will actually become a minority that will be if we don't take a stand.
Now, I just want to put on the record that we're approaching 200 people watching at the moment, so we've got quite a big audience here. Now, one of the things that I've noticed, because my channel is becoming quite popular, is that there's still a large number of people in South Africa, and I'm talking about white people, and I think you would call them the liberal people, Marius, but they still seem to be in denial that things are going pear-shaped in South Africa. And I can't understand that attitude. Are you finding that, Isaac?
Yes, definitely. And I think the main reason for that is that the biggest portion of our white community are still rich people. If I stop at my child's school every morning and I compare the vehicles that drop off the children at the schools with the vehicles that my parents possessed, they never dropped me at the school. I walked with my feet, or I went to school on my bicycle. Nowadays, especially the younger generation, big portion, and I want to go as far as saying that more than 70% of the white population are still rich. They are benefiting from the ANC government. They are the guys who are getting the contracts with the BEE companies. They are making the money on the back of black nationalism, of capitalism. And that is the main reason that they are not they don't see what we ordinary guys are seeing. I left the police 10 years back, and in this 10 years, I walk amongst the poorest of the poor.
Yeah.
And I experienced, and I saw, and I lived what is actually happening in the middle to lower levels of the white community, of the white society. And that is tragic. And as long as people are making their money and they don't care about poverty and they have a globalist view of what's going on in South Africa, and they goes on with the rhetoric of when you speak about black people that are murdering white people, they will say that that's a global problem. You are crying about 400 farmers that are killed annually, but the global picture is 17,000 murders per year. But what they don't realize, and they don't think about, is that 99% of that 17,000 murders per year is domestic violence, where the murderer and the victim knows each other. And that mostly occurs in the townships, and liquor and drugs are the driving forces behind the murders.
Yeah.
But they don't go into the facts. And the facts of the matter is that the 1% that is left is terrorist attacks, planned, well planned, on mainly white farmers.
Yeah.
That they don't realize, and they don't want to acknowledge, and that is the main reason why Cyril Ramaphosa is quiet about it. Why John Sitole, the police commissioner, doesn't even issue a press statement when a farmer is killed.
Yeah.
In my days, when there was a murder, even if it is in the township related to domestic violence, we issued a press statement calling the public to assist us in the investigation and try to everything in our power to arrest the perpetrators.
Yeah.
But nowadays, it's not even making the headlines or the news, the mainstream news.
Yeah. Now, look, I have to tell you that on Sunday night, that's in 48 hours' time, I'm going to be having another live stream with Patrick, who has been involved in the Loving Life channel now for over a year, and we've together worked, and he's built up beautifully. You know, he was really battling, and through this channel he's really built up the whole project. And we've had 3 food and feed deliveries to specifically white squatter camps, and more recently to places like Uppington, and we've got one on the 16th of November, which is going to Williston, where this is what we're going to be talking about on Sunday night. We've got something like 30 tons of maize going down to Williston for feed. For the farmers who are starving at Williston, we got something like 176 food packs that have been put together, and the Gift of the Givers have been involved as well, so they're actually coming on board with us, which is great. So we've got a lot happening, and for those people who are watching the live stream right now, please remember Sunday night 8 p.m. we're going to be talking about this Williston project with Patrick, and joining us as well will be Sean, because as this channel has exposed, as the Loving Life channel has grown, we've had more and more people coming into our Loving Life community, and one of them is Sean, who's now developed a range of merchandise that people will be able to buy online, which is based around the big 5 animals. Beautiful stuff. And profits from that merchandise will go directly to the charities that Loving Life supports. Now, let me get back on topic here. Marius, would you like to add to what Izak said just a moment ago?
No, I totally agree with Izak, but what we should do as the white minority, we should actually be very proactive with the poor white communities. And as I said, we should actually go out there, instead of the farmers feeding these white boys in the squatter camps, we should actually just go and take them out and make it almost like conscription. We make it compulsory for these guys and say, listen, you are being fed. But now, instead of being fed, you have to pay it forward. You come for 3 months basic. They can do training while they eat maize. Now they eat maize in the squatter camp. Get all these youngsters, because that will be thousands. We all work under one SOP. We work these guys, we discipline. The guys that fall out, they will always be the ones that fall out. But out of 10,000, you get 1,000. With that 1,000, you can operate. Some of these, they can be permanent. A permanent force in a squatter camp. There's all other squatter camps, and these guys can deploy from there. The other guys, they want to, there's opportunities, pay them back to the farmers. Most of these farm murders are from the workers themselves, inside jobs. Get rid of that, the enemy that you feed, that bites you. Put a white guy there that's willing to work, that went to tough training, that's been, he's been fact-checked, he's gekeerd, he went through process. And by the end of the process, the 3 months, he's a guy that's going to stay in the farm as proven with all the other guys that goes out. So I think all these, our groups should come together. There's a lot of scope to work together, that maybe you can work towards one goal with one standing operating procedure, or else at the end of the day, if anything will happen, in my opinion, we all just should be.
Marius, can you come closer to the... Yeah, okay. Just repeat the last sentence.
Yeah, so what I said is, so the whole objective is, you can imagine you have all these youngsters on squatter camps. You feed them there, you train them there, and they will respond from there as a permanent force. They sit in, do nothing in any way. So let them work for the maize. The others should pay forward to the farmers. And so these oats, it goes to the farmers. They went through the process and they made it, so they don't want to go back to the farms. Then all our groups in South Africa, doesn't matter which group you are, should actually come together and work towards a common goal with one standing operating procedure. Or else the day when anything will happen in South Africa, all groups will just be various militia group. I think we can miss our objective. Everybody can do what they want. So I think one should work under one umbrella, one standing. Though people might have various names, represent various marketing organizations or whatever, but I think one SOP is one standing operating procedure, might be with training, with response, things.
Okay.
I think that's the way.
Okay, now, it's interesting because we're talking about these groups of young men who are now going to go and protect the farms, basically. And one of the things that I've been seeing more and more evidence of is that the South African police service is completely failing in its task. In fact, it's seen as the most corrupt government organization in South Africa today. And we're talking about, you know, these are police who actually walk the streets in South Africa, or they drive around in cars. Now, Izak, you are ex-police. You were a general in the police, weren't you? Tell us a bit about your background in the South African Police Service.
Okay, Scott, thanks for the promotion. I was a colonel in the police.
You're a general now.
Yeah, I'm the elected general for the Boerelegioen. That is where the rank general comes from. But I was in the police for 23.5 years. I grew up in the house of a police officer who became, as we call it, one of the last generals of the apartheid era.
Right.
So about policing, I'm quite on board and full of knowledge about the police force and how they operate and the law. So that is very important for me. But what Marius he said, I want to come back to what he said.
Yeah, go ahead.
That is very important. And that is that this young men, I think what we as a collective have to do, and that is all the organizations. I'm going to call to all the organizations that are in close alliance with the Boerelegioen, is that we have an outreach to all the squatter camps, the squatter camps, the white squatter camps, and recruit these young men. Yeah. I know and I saw what Marius has done with these guys. Hey, that is, you know, he deserves one of the highest medals for this effort that he's making in changing the lives of these young men. And what I want to suggest is, and I don't know how far he is in this process of training instructors and placing them all over South Africa. And if he is in that process, he can answer that now. If he is in that process of training good instructors, we can assist him from all over to get those camps of him full and where the people are getting trained on a continuous basis. And that is from my side what I promise to do, is to get into a recruiting campaign with other organizations.
Marius, over to you. Can you come a bit closer to the camera and just respond to...
Yes, if we can take hands. I know you call it Izak, but I think it's in Afrikaans is Izak. Like when Izak said. I think that's what we have to do, and if we can, collaborate with the Boerelegioen and do that. My own guys that stays behind these youngsters after their 3 months on a continuous basis. They call themselves Tango Golf. That's their call sign with a little skeleton. It actually stands for Ghost because they work silent to operate silent. We can't, just go in public and say what they do. So we keep it very secret with them. But these they full space training. our instructors, my own guys that stays behind, they are helping with these people. So if there's a need, we can collaborate with the other group. We can get youngsters in various provinces, spending 30 communities, actually like a step-down facility. They can actually feed these guys. That's all they need. You know, if they sit in a squatter camp and get feed, maybe they can get a uniform somewhere and they can feel worthy. These guys have still got the hearts. They still work. They know where they came from. They know where they want to go for. In each province, we can get quite a, as Isaac said, you can have a platoon, various, I know platoons of 32. Imagine you have a 2 or 3 platoons in the province with 32 young guys that's full-time there, that can respond, that's fully trained for any situation. Yes, I've got the instructors for that. We have to stay focused, walk forward towards the common goal. I think within a year, I know everything is still time. I think everybody stands together, irrespective of each place you present. I think we can stand up again and we can become one mighty force again.
Fantastic.
Even the parents out there that's got children that's finishing matric, just for the parents, make it like conscription. Before your boy goes study, they haven't got spines. They sit and play PlayStation. They cheat their parents. They also got no morals. Send them to EBS. Send them to the Boerelegioen for 2 or 3 months. Let's grow spine. Let's take these young girls, boys, make them into men. And then from there, they can decide, are they going to join a group? Are they going to stay permanent on? But we have to make it conspiracy and say, listen, boy, you've got no choice. You can't sit here, though. You can't eat and PlayStation. Things have changed. After matric, you have to go away for 3 months. This is the way it will be. This will be like a standard SOP under the white minority, the Boer folk, the conservative. This is the thing that we have to do. So I don't care if you cry. This is a walk that you're going to walk at. And I think things will just better after.
I agree.
Now, we've got about 200 people watching the live stream at the moment. Now, Izak, would you like to respond to what Marius said?
Yes, absolutely. I think what we have to bring back is getting the youngsters involved in kadette, die ou kadette. Weet jy of jy nog die kadette onthou nie, Marius? So what we are going to do, what I have established in the Boerelegioen is a separate leg that is operating parallel with the operational leg. We created the leg we call the Boerelegioen Kultuurkorps, the Culture Corps. And that is what we are appointing mostly women and give them ranks. We appoint them as a colonel or a captain or a sergeant. And in their specific areas where they are staying, they have to reach out to the schools, to the churches. We want to get those youngsters on board and bring back the cadets, what we had in school pre-1994. What Marius has said as a SOP is very, very important. And that is that we have to, you have to make people aware, and after the awareness, you have to convince them. So we have to convince the white minority that it is dis lewensbelangrik to bring back the diensplig what we had pre-1994. That the youngsters that finish school, the gap year they take before they decide what they want to do with their lives, with their future. That year is an excellent stage in the development of the young man and the young woman to go for military training or for expert or Space Force training. When you get back from that training, your head is open, your mind is open, you can think, you can decide, can make life decisions after that training. And I assume, and I think, and I experienced it in the time when I finished matric, that 1 or 2 or 3 years after matric in the police service, that training I received set the foundation for me to decide what I want to become in life. And that is very, very important. We cannot enforce it because there's no law that can enforce it. But within our situation in South Africa, where we are struggling to survive, and our existence as a minority group is at stake, we can go to the extent to encourage the people to allow their youngsters to join in with the training.
Now, we've got a question here in the side chat. Look, I'm just talking to the people watching right now. I encourage you to ask questions. And Melina, if you could just copy those questions onto a notepad. And once we finish discussing here, then we can take those questions and present them to Marius and to Izak. Now, Namibia Gunslinger has asked, are Boerelegioen and EBS open to the slightly older generation that are unemployed but have skills from previous careers in security services? Over to you guys. Starting with you, Izak.
Yeah, definitely. We are using the old veterans at this stage. We appoint them as either a platoon commander or a company commander or a regional commander. And we are using them extensively in our training activities, the POSCO training that we are doing with the normal civilians. And our instructors at Phoenix, at Camp Phoenix, which is our Special Forces training, are over 50. They are going to 60 now, as I am. I'm also an old veteran, and I'm approaching 60 now.
You're still a young pup.
So we have to use them, and they must come on board, and they can play a huge role because we have 4 million people to train in South Africa.
Yeah.
Get them on the same page, and as soon as the veterans report for duty, sooner we can become a Volkswehrmacht to be reckoned with.
Yeah. Now, what is your email address, Izak?
Everyone can send me emails to info@boerelegioen.
Yeah.
.co.za.
Okay, I'll just type that in here. Now, while I'm doing that, Marius, would you like to just add to the conversation about what we were just talking about there?
Yes, I'm not fully on board here with Izak. I've learned out of experience myself as 52, and obviously I lead by example. If the Oaks do the fast pace 25 k's a day with 50, 60 kgs, I set by example to earn their respect. And the youngsters that I get are 17 to 22, 23. They are the workable youngsters. They can still change their mindset. I had a few out of stats, a few older men here, 35, 40, 50. They just don't make the training. Out of the youngsters, if 30 enroll, 13 makes it. As I said, they sleep in tents, no electricity, there's no cement in the tents, they sleep on pallets and with mattresses, cold water, they cook for themselves. It is just tough. Every week they just take their backpacks and they run over this mountain. They don't get back. So I've just seen maybe with the Boerelegioen, maybe, obviously, these oaks are more clever, they can be commanders. The oaks that I like to work with, as I said, we do part of that, we do riverine patrol, we do static line jumping, the oaks that stays behind. So we really try to push it. They're more proactive, they go-getters. Sad to say, but out of experience, the older, I'm 52 myself, I refer to the older people myself, referring to my age, the guys just don't make it. Out of experience, also, I keep telling them, you're not going to make it out of experience. They say, no, they can do this, they can do best. The last 2 or 3 weeks, it's difficult to change the mindset.
Right.
Ja, ons ou manne kan dit nie meer doen nie, hoor.
Now,
we want to do it, but I realize that we cannot do it. We have to train our younger generation. We have to bring them in, with the knowledge that we know, that we have learned in the past, and we have to bring them on the same standard. But we can get the older men involved in the normal firearm handling training, little bit of close combat and normal training
I think we've lost. And I'll just see if we can get him back. Oh, he's back. Sorry, we lost you there for a second.
Yeah,
Isaac?
I got a telephone call. I don't know what happened. Okay, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. Yeah.
All right. So we have to get them on board to help us training the older people and the young people in the basics of survival, in the basics of firearm handling, in the basics of close combat, and in the basics of huis en hart beskerming.
Right. And I take it you would agree with that, Marius?
Yes, I will agree with that. I just want to add here, I've lived out of experience myself. I did my military and I was like, used to operate in Africa, a little freelancer. That's why I get my experience. But then when I was doing conscription in the army, I know Izak more Taakmag, urban warfare, but the normal military, like 3 months, you just did disciplines, keeping your bed nice and clean in your boot, that not really much. And what I wanted to say is that then, it was a bush war, but I think the war scene is actually changed from bush to urban. Our old system came from maybe from the scouts, where they went to the SAS and they did the first jumps, and maybe the reconnaissance regiment came down from and all that. But we're trying to move away from the bush war. My system is air, sea, and land, more Navy SEALs, that we try to go fully urban. It's very tough, so we try to shift the focus from bush war to the sense that it's defensive, that with the switch of the button, if it comes to, it can be 100% offensive and 100% deadly.
Right, fantastic. Izak, you want to add to that?
No, I think between me and him, we covered the whole story now. Regarding specialized training and normal basic training. And you see, there's lots of voices going out there complaining about the division between the different organizations.
Yeah.
And I must tell you that there's no division. The more organizations there are, the more people we are going to reach at the end. And even if it looks from the outside that we are not working together, we are actually working together. And I salute you, Marius, for what you are doing. And you are doing a great job. And from my side, I want to take hands with you in getting as many young people in the sort of training that you are doing. Because we are going to need those guys. We are going to need them for sure.
Fantastic. Well, look, I'm so pleased that I was able to introduce you guys to each other. I think this is going to be a really interesting future. I think it's going to be of great benefit to both of you. Now, I just want to, and again, guys, if you want to ask questions in the side chat, I know there are a few. Okay, now, Lance has just asked, there are probably a bunch of questions, but I'll just take this one. Lance has just asked, can armed men become deployed, say 2 or 3 per truck on certain routes to also help protect truck drivers as well as the goods transported, and to be understood to attack any looters, etc.? That's a really good question.
Yeah, if I can answer that, that is an excellent idea, and I think some of the security companies in the country are already engaged in that type of protection services. And that is very important, that when we employ people to protect a registered company, like a truck company, they have to be registered security guards, and either E, D, C, B, or A.
Right.
Reaction forces. And automatically they have to be licensed firearm owners.
Okay. Now, Marius, do you want to add to that point that was raised?
Yeah, I think Izak is right. There is already security companies that's being deployed to do that. They're also getting paid for that. But then if you look in the past with all these tracks that burn and that, and most of the people that got the green light to drive with tracks were people that complied with demands from the EFF and the ANC, and they were given the green light to do transportation. The other people that did not comply to BEE those people, their tracks were tortured and all that. So I think there again we have to draw a line. Who do you protect? Who don't you protect? It's like the deaf with mighty protecting the enemy. So I'm not going to go into that thing. I think I'll stick with my MOUT or military operations urban terrain. I think that's my speciality.
Yeah.
And I think everybody do have a speciality. So the people if that's calling, then you do that.
Okay. Now, I want to ask you a very specific question, Izak. One of the people who's been involved with this channel for a long time, Philippe, is also an ex-South African policeman. And he drew my attention to the fact that in Durban, the police are now using private security companies to actually go and arrest people. And I don't know if you've heard about it, but Philippe said this is a huge red flag because that is not the business of the security companies. What's your comment on that?
Yeah, I don't think it is normal. The police have to do their own job, and but that is not strange anymore in South Africa because the police headquarters are being protected by a private security company. Every provincial headquarter in South Africa are protected by a private security company. So, I think there is a move towards making use of private security to do the job, because then the job are going to be done. Because, we must know that in South Africa, the government of the day are only engaging in basic services. Basic service delivery. And that's why pre-1994 already the medical profession realized that, and that's why they started medical funds. That's why they started private medical care. And now we are facing disaster in South Africa with regard to the state medical care, and that is the way the police are also going. And I think education is also going that way. People who want their children to be educated well are going to private education, private schools, and homeschooling even, and I think that is a tragic truth of South Africa. That everyone is going into the private industry, and the state has got the responsibility because they are the ones who are gathering the taxes. And I don't know what they are doing with the taxes.
I know what they're doing with the taxes.
When there's only basic services being rendered to the community.
There's a really interesting comparison here, and you just raised the second one. The one is private schools are still run like they were pre-1994. I mean, they are beautifully run. I went to a boarding school called Michael House, which is in Balgaan, KwaZulu-Natal, and that school today is as good, if not better, than it was pre-1994. The standard of education, everything has been maintained. Beautiful buildings, still beautifully maintained. Then you compare the public schools around South Africa, complete disgrace, absolutely complete disgrace. And the other example I have, which is even more. It really just tells you the story, is that every municipality in South Africa is deep in the shit when it comes to finances, when it comes to service delivery. They just don't know what they are doing, and that's because of BEE. Now, there's one little town that's the exception, and that is the town of Orania, which is run by the white community. It's crime-free. No financial problems. Everything runs just like it used to pre-1994. So you've got these little islands which are out there in South Africa, which reflect this chasm that's happened since the ANC government took over power. Do you want to comment on that, Marius?
I think that's probably the ideal that everybody wants, but it's still just little probably little militia groups, and I think what we should do as a nation or minority nation, we should actually just focus put our goals and work towards the goals. Don't get distracted with anything else. If it's not within your scope, we just bypass that. And with South Africa, that you get that sort of thing with other South Africa for the minority. I did a lot of study on war situations throughout the world, what happened before and after. And with anything like that, Bosnia, if you look all of these states that actually wanted to become independent from Russia, for independence, with anything else. So if the people do want to think, if it's going to be, they want an independent state in South Africa, or to accommodate the white minority, they're not going to do it without it. That's the
Yeah, okay. Now, Izak, what are your comments about what I was just saying there with the comparison between the schools and Oranje?
Yeah, I think, I think we realized that when Oranje was established already pre-1994, that they are going to be the example of excellence. Because we instinctively knew when the ANC took over and they got rid of all the whites in the civil service, in the municipalities. You can go to every municipality. Who are the people serving you? And there's frustration upon frustration. People that do not understand the Western standards, they do not understand the Western culture, and we allow that. We allow that.
Yeah, it's crazy.
We as a collective in my town, if everyone agrees what I'm saying, get in contact with me, then we start a collective and start our own parallel municipality and deliver our own services. Take back what belongs to us.
Yeah.
And historically, it is not an ideology, it's historically, it's a fact that my ancestors, white people, were the first people in Middelburg.
Yeah.
The concentration camps are proof of that. The museums are proof of that. The old buildings are proof of that. And we have to take control of what belongs to us. It's our heritage.
Yeah.
And we must stop complaining about bad service delivery because we allowed it.
Well, I'll give you a really
we have to come together.
Sorry, carry on.
We have to come together as a collective. Discuss the problem, but also discuss the solution.
Yeah.
And get on board and work out these people.
Okay, now, Marlena, have we got some questions that people would like to put to Marius and Izak? If you just start putting them in the side chat there for me, that'll be fantastic. Now, okay, now, just you talked there about the museums, and I'm a historian, and back in 2011, well, I actually went to the Siege Museum in Mafeking back in 2006, and back then it was still, it was okay, it wasn't great. Black curator. When I went back in 2011, even though it's still called the Siege Museum, you walk in there and all it is now is just these big placards about the black tribes and how they lived in the area and what they did and stuff like that. And they've got a room at the back which has got the siege material, like the old banknotes that Baden-Powell issued back during the siege. And, some really fascinating stuff. When I went there in 2011, the light bulb in there didn't work. It was dark. You know what they did? They gave me a torch to go and look around that room at and that used to be the whole basis of the museum. And what's actually happening in South Africa right now is the history, the pre-1994 history, is being destroyed by these black curators who now run the museums. If you go to the state president's house in Bloemfontein, there are cabinets there which are empty. Everything's been taken out of them. They just leave the empty cabinets there. And that's because, again, you've got black curators. God knows what they're doing with this stuff, but that is what's happening to South African history right now as we speak.
Yeah, and we allow that because I don't know why is everyone quiet about it? I don't know. There's a few pressure groups that's standing up. For instance, Patriot vir Minderhede, Willie Jordaan and Wessel Basson. When they call a protest action, no one turns up.
Yeah. I think people are scared.
I think people lost hope in South Africa. The white people lost hope. They either lost hope or it's going too well with them still.
No, I think
and they don't care.
I think there are a lot of...
I think a lot of our people got the globalist mentality. They are world citizens. They are not patriots anymore. They are not Afrikaans-speaking South Africans anymore. They are not Boere anymore. It's only a handful of us that stands for what is right and what is wrong.
Yeah.
What is really right and what is really wrong, because you know what is wrong in the past is right now. What is wrong now was right in the past, and you know the people are confused between what is right, what is wrong, what is normal and what is abnormal.
Yeah.
And I think the communication about that has to go out, and the people have to go back to the roots of their existence, and that is based in the Word of God, in the Bible.
Yeah.
And from that, they have to try to rediscover who they are in terms of identity. Because every one of us belong to a specific ethnical group.
Yeah.
And you don't have to be ashamed to be a white Afrikaans-speaking citizen of South Africa. You don't have to be ashamed of being a Boer.
Yeah.
You don't have to be ashamed of that. You know, people are labeling the name Boer, and they are labeling people who are calling themselves Afrikaners and stuff like that. But you know who you are.
Yeah.
And because you know who you are, you have to take up that identity and live with it. And go back in time to see actually what happened, how the civilization came into existence in South Africa.
Yeah.
And then you have to realize and came to the conclusion that I'm a descendant. I am a descendant of those brave men and women who civilized Africa, this part of Africa.
Yeah.
Hulle het hom mak gemaak.
Yeah.
Niemand anders nie. There was nothing. There was nothing when they came here.
Yeah, exactly right. We've got a question here for you. Timon asked, what do Izak and Marius think must we expect after the remarks from Angus Buchan and the response by the EFF? Are you familiar with the situation? Can you tell us, Marius, what you think?
Well, I'm not quite familiar. If you could just inform me, please.
Yeah, Izak, do you want to kick off on this?
Yeah, Angus booked the Loftus Versfeld Stadium for a Loftus for Jesus gathering in, I think, the 2nd of February. And the EFF made a statement, one of the leaders, that they are going to put limpet mines there and they're going to blow up the whole stadium. Then there was quite a huge outrage on that. And my view is that we must realize that the enemies of the Boere are very, very scared that we unite in our faith and that we unite in our, what do you call it, die verbond wat ons met God het. And I know that there's, in higher levels of government, there are quite a lot of questions being asked lately to people who are in parliament representing the white folk in South Africa.
Yeah.
Questions are being asked. Is the Boere busy mobilizing? Is die Boere besig om te mobiliseer? And my view is that, yeah, there's lots of critics against Angus Buchan. Some people call him a Catholic, and some people call him the enemy of the Boere. But in my view, Angus Buchan is a normal farmer descending from Scotland. He's not a Boere Afrikaner, he's not speaking Afrikaans. He's not representing actually my people. But we can listen to him. And if people want to go and listen to him, it's good. Because he's preaching the gospel of the new covenant. And I don't have a problem with that. I know that there is many people amongst the Boere who are not a fan of Angus Buchan. But me in person, I don't have a problem with him. And the only problem I have is that he made a statement that he said the Afrikaner people are like the old Israel, the only two tribes in history that have a covenant with God.
Yeah.
And that is the words that caused the outrage. And after the outrage, that's my problem. I wouldn't have done that. He backpedaled and said, no, he made a mistake. No, I wouldn't have done that because that is the truth.
Yeah. No.
Israelite in the Afrikaner people, the Boer people are the only two tribes that have a covenant with God. And that is the sole truth. And God is keeping the Boer people to the covenant because we are guilty of breaking that covenant.
Marius, would you like to add to that?
Yes, I've got no comment on, I'm going to stay neutral with from Angus, but these things that these blacks say they're going to bomb up this place and they're going to do that, and like say with Liberia or Nigeria, when they say these oaks are going to fly in, they're going to bomb up the schools. That I think these people know that the white minority is already like mentally scared of these people. And for me, they talk, and I think it's most of the time it's just like a psychological warfare. Because once they say anything small, there's a whole white minority runs around and they're all, what are we going to do? Oh, this is going to happen, this is going to happen. And then it doesn't happen, and then like fine for a while. They say something again, and then the psychological warfare starts again. But I think from our side, we talkers, we only talk. We're in a comfort zone, and I think we should step up and out of that talking thing, we should start talking, we should do this.
Okay. Now, Talita's asked a really interesting question. And she says, quite simply, when last have you laughed at destruction? And I think what she's talking about is when there's a video going out of a truck being burnt or something like that, you can hear the people in the background laughing and cheering and carrying on as if, this is a great event. What are your thoughts on that, Izak?
Yeah, I don't know what you are referring to.
Okay. When they petrol bomb a truck, for example. Okay,
Yeah.
now the truck is burning, and they do a video, and in the background you can hear these guys laughing and carrying on, and it's celebrating that they've destroyed a truck, I think is what she's talking about.
Okay. My views on that.
Yeah.
I think it's sick, man.
But is that
when people commit crime and looting, it's nothing else than stealing.
Yeah.
And the police are standing around, they don't arrest these people. And the message they are sending out is that stealing is acceptable in South Africa, under South African law. And, my dream is that we get into a position where the Boer people can take over the police force, the work, the job, so that we can show them how to apply the law. I spoke in my previous video about the urinating in public. Nowadays, every second guy are urinating on the pavements.
Yeah.
And all the people are doing that, just turning away their heads.
Yeah.
When I was in the police, and I come across a person that taking out his penis to pee on in the public, he was arrested. I took him to the police station and I charged him. And if it was on a Friday evening and he didn't have money for bail, he will sit in the cells for the whole weekend until Monday when he appears in court. That was a criminal offense in my days.
Yeah.
And nowadays, when you arrest a person urinating in public, exposing his public parts to women, there's nothing. Nothing's being done about it.
Yeah.
It's normal. It became normal. And that is the campaign the EFF is driving in South Africa. They want crime to be normalized so that the people don't worry about it anymore. It's not wrong anymore. People laughing in the background. You know they are untouchable.
Yeah.
When they are in a group and they are protesting under the name of protest action, they are untouchable. They have diplomatic immunity. And that has to stop. If the police doesn't want to police this matters, we as the public have an obligation, because when a crime is committed, you are by law obliged to apply the law. If a crime is committed in your presence, you have to stand up and arrest that person because he committed a crime. The law expects it from you.
So what you're saying is the police are failing in their duty, which is self-evident.
Dismally. And I will tell that to Kesla Sitolo in his face. I already told him a few times.
Right.
And I heard that these generals was up in arms, but I don't care. They have a job to do.
Yeah. Now, are there any more questions, Melina, that people would like to ask? Okay. What I'd like to do is get back to what we originally started talking about. Now, Marius, what have you got out of the discussion tonight? Is there something significant that you think you can really move ahead with here?
Yes, definitely. I think myself, the Boerelegioen, and I think there's a lot of other units or companies out there that we share the same goals towards the future. I think if we can take hands and we set a common goal and we can unite, I think we can definitely walk forward and we can reach those set goals.
Fantastic. Izak, same question to you.
From my side, I am going to encourage all my commanders to go onto a recruitment drive to get the guys for Marius to train. And if Marius agrees, we can use those guys in our own security and community exercises, building community platoons, training our civilians.
What do you think, Marius?
Definitely, and I thank you, Scott, for bringing us together for this opportunity, and also for Isaac to take hands with the EBS, and we can walk forward with one goal and stop talking and do the walk. Thank you, Isaac.
Now, Marius, what does EBS stand for?
EBS stands for Eenheid, Boere Stabiliteit.
So it's Unity, Boere, Stability, basically.
Yes, definitely, but not the Boer like a farmer, a Boer like capital representing the ethnic group, the Boer. So
Okay.
it's Eenheid, Boere Stabiliteit.
Fantastic. All right, look, Marlene, if there are any other questions, we'll take those now before I wrap up, because we've basically achieved our goal. We've got Marius and Izak now working closely together. I think there's tremendous synergy here, and I'm hoping that in a couple of months' time we can perhaps have another live stream like this where we can talk about how you're working together and what's happening, and we can just sort of keep that moving forward. What do you guys think? Izak, over to you first.
Excellent, Scott. Thank you for playing the role of bringing us together. I know about Marius, and I wanted to phone him for a long time, and I watch his videos, and I fully agree with what he's doing. But I think what you have done today or tonight is to bring us actually together, and we are focusing on the points we can actually work together, and that's my aim. I'm going to focus on that in future. Thank you for that. Thank you for everyone that listened, everyone that watched this channel, and I want to also encourage you to subscribe to Scott's channel. And from my side, I want to congratulate you, Scott, for growing this channel and becoming a voice for the Boer people in South Africa.
Thank you very much, Izak. I really appreciate your kind comments. Marius, over to you. Would you like to just chat to the people who are watching at the moment and who watch the video later? Just closing comments.
Yes, to all the people out there, not even national, internationally, thank you for supporting the minority. And it would be very, really nice, Scott, if you can use tuning in a month or 2 times to give feedback. You see that we're just not talkers, that we're going to work together.
Yeah.
That I'm sure you and Izak together, we've got roles. There's a plan for us in South Africa, and I'm glad for this opportunity. To all the people out there supporting us, the Boerelegioen, please don't stop supporting us, believe in us. At the end, we can make a difference. Thank you so much.
Fantastic. All right, I see there's another question which has come through. We'll just take this question very quickly, and it is from Namib, and he says, what warning does Izak and Marius have for South Africa when the financial downgrading happens in 2020? What he's talking about is when Moody's downgrade the rand to junk, and that's going to have a huge impact on the economy of South Africa. Let's start off with you, Izak.
Thank you for that. I think what I want to propose is that people get their business onto the cloud, onto the pay app system of USAF, where you are doing business in dollars. When you invest in the pay app system, you put your money into the pay app bank, immediately it goes into the dollar, and you trade in dollars. So I think it's the only way, according to me, that you can protect your money, protect the value of your money, and as soon as the country is declared junk status, the rand is going to tumble, and then your money in your bank, in your common bank, is going to be worth nothing, and that is a trigger for. I don't want to use the word civil war, but it's going to be a trigger for huge scale of civil unrest. Because the people are going to come hungry, crime is going to escalate, and we are going to fall into a similar situation that we saw in countries like there's lots of voorbeelden of them in Europe and Russia, in the Soviet Union, and everywhere, all over. Yeah. Syria is one of the recent examples. Yeah. We don't want that. We don't want people to stand in queues on the South African borders because the value of the rand is worth nothing. You have to have a kruiwa om 'n brood te gaan koop. Kruiwa vol geld om brood te gaan koop. That's not going to be very nice. And it's going to create a situation in South Africa that is going to be unbearable when total anarchy breaks out. And then we have to be ready. We have to be ready.
I just have one comment to make about the having your money on the cloud, and that is that it takes electricity to access that money. What happens if Eskom goes totally belly up and there's no electricity in South Africa? Then you can't access it.
Well, to work on your laptop, you can somewhere, you will be getting some electricity, even if it's from a generator. Okay. Or a battery or whatever. But I think you have to have power backup. If anything can happen with Eskom. And as daar totale anargie is, then we have to make a plan to to get the mechanics and the engineers on board to start up the power stations. That's what we have to do. We cannot allow that to happen. We have enough engineers and enough electricians and enough civil engineers and builders and whatever to start up a power station and get Eskom going again.
Okay, now, it's just interesting. On Wednesday night, I've got a live stream with Chris Badenhorst, and he's involved in another option, which is where you actually buy very small amounts of gold, which actually you own them physically, which are then actually attached to like a note, and he'll be actually talking about this on Wednesday night. So that's another way of keeping your rand in dollars, because the gold is based on dollars.
What I can just add on the pay app system, you have a current account where you can do your normal daily business, and you have a savings account on the pay app system. When you reach 1,200 rand, you can buy 1 ounce of gold.
Fantastic.
So at the end, you can buy Kruger rands and you invest in gold, and that is the most safe way to protect your assets.
So anyway, on Wednesday night, there will be a live stream with Chris talking about this project, or this way of actually putting your money into gold. Now, Marius, we're not ignoring you. It's just very interesting discussion about the financial side. Now, would you like to just comment on anything we've just been talking about?
No, not really. I'm glad that you asked, Isaac. I'm not an economist. I think that if anything had to go wrong with the economy, I think we just have to have a positive mindset and just walk into it and try to walk out of that. Maybe within ourselves, in the circles, try to have a micro economic system where we trade between ourselves and hire between ourselves.
Right.
And in case of a civil war, my opinion, I've learned in Africa that gold doesn't bring you much, it doesn't bring you far. So if there had to be a civil war and I had to get myself committed to trade with, I would definitely invest my money in alcohol, tobacco, and medicines.
Right.
With that, you can get quite far.
That's so you can barter. That's a good idea. Now, okay, so just a question from me in closing. I'm sorry we nearly closed, but questions are still coming through. What are your guys' plan B? I mean, if we're talking about if the country goes into a civil war state or stage, what are your plans? Going to you first, Isaac.
We are mobilizing on the right side of the law. When there's no law, we know what is the next step, and that is to destroy the enemy.
Right.
Because when there is civil war, you are enemies, and if you are a trained soldier, you are trained to kill the enemy, and that's what we are training our people to do. But while the law is still intact, the thin blue line that makes distinction between anarchy and peace, we are still on the peaceful side of society.
Yeah.
And as long as that is maintained, we will help the police to maintain that.
Right.
But on that tipping point, when we fall into civil war and there's no law anymore, the war is on. And then we are going to take hands as different organizations which are having now different views on different subjects. We will be forced to work together and to, soos ons altyd sê, lie against each other in the loopgraaf.
Yeah.
And the barrels of our guns will face the enemy, not each other.
Well, you know, you've got the right, the human right to defend yourself. I mean, that goes without saying. So what you're talking about makes a lot of sense. Now, if someone wants to join Boerelegioen, how do they do that?
There's only one way that you can join, and that is to go onto the website www.boerelegioen.co.za. There's a link you follow, Raak Betrokke. It will open up a form that you fill in, and after you fill in the form, you just post it, and after 7 days, the admin will make contact with you and invite you to an information session, and where you will be placed in your role in the platoon, in a civilian platoon.
Right. Okay, now going across to you, Patrick, what's your plan B if things go totally pear-shaped in South Africa?
Patrick or Marius?
Sorry, Marius, I'm sorry. I'm actually typing in the website address, so I was distracted.
So, EBS hasn't got a plan B. We only got a plan A, so we have to stick with the plan. So there's no second plan. There's only one plan, and that plan will work. Also now we are within the law. We are defensive. The training is defensive, but within the future battle, a baton it can be 100 offensive. That's all.
Right. Okay. Well, look, I'll just check to see if there are any final questions that have come through. I don't think so. I'm so happy that we've achieved our main objective, and that is bringing you two guys together. I think that's a fabulous outcome. I'm just so excited. I've just put Boerelegioen's website out in the side chat, so people can click on that and join Boerelegioen. We've got nearly 250 people watching, but I think that there'll be a lot more people watching this video later on, because we'll just keep it on the main Loving Life channel. What I might do is I might give you both a link to the live stream, so you can put it out to your members and people like that, so they can find out more about your organizations. All right, I know I've already said this once. Is there anything you'd like to say in closing? Over to you first, Izak.
Thank you, Scott, very much. Once again, thank you for what you are doing, and thank you for the people who are watching and who are listening, and for the international people who are carrying the message. I think that is the most important aspect of this whole exercise, is that the people in the international community, our friends in Europe, our friends in the USA, our friends in Australia and in New Zealand, who are watching, it is very, very important that you realize and that you carry the message that the white minority is under siege in South Africa. Our existence is at stake. And apart from what the opinion formers are saying, apart from what Ramaphosa told the UN or the people outside, there is on a daily basis farmers being attacked. On a weekly basis, a farmer is murdered in South Africa. And they are using trained terrorists to do this, to execute the killings. And that is why the Boerelegioen came to existence, is to take the role of protection our own over from the police. And my message to the community outside, whether you have training or don't have training, doesn't matter. If you are speaking Afrikaans or English, and you are white, and you're a Christian, and you believe the way we are believing, you feel the way that you get the message from how I am feeling, get on board. Get on board as soon as possible so that we can help you safeguard your vicinity where you are staying, safeguard the vicinity where you are working, safeguard your CBDs, safeguard your towns, safeguard your suburbs, safeguard your farms. And from my side, we are going to take hands with Marius, and we are going to provide excellent services to the farmers, to the boere, not to the liberals who are paying lots of money for security, but to the boere who are also suffering, like me and Marius are suffering financially. We are not working people. We are serving people. Our aim is not money, making money. Our aim is serving our people. That is our main aim. And if there are people with money who can invest in this project, please do so. It's not for our benefit. It's for the benefit of those guys we are training and for the benefit of your community your community who are under attack. And beware of that day that the EFF comes to your neighborhood with AK-47s, with limpet mines, with landmines, and I heard Malema told the journalist the other day, he considered going back to the bush. And if they are going to become a terrorist organization like before 1994, we are having problems because we don't have the police anymore. We don't have the army anymore who can protect us. Like our police and army protected the minority in South Africa before 1994. We don't have that anymore. We have to take that responsibility upon ourselves to protect ourselves.
Right.
So, look.
Now, I think it's Andile Nixitama from the BLF who said he was going to go underground. Now, just talking about your bank account, Zach, how do they find that? Is that actually on your website?
Yeah, the bank account is a FNB bank account.
It's
the
on
name
your
of the
website,
bank account is it's on the website.
Yeah, because that's easy.
Yes.
I've put the website address down because, you know, with all the numbers and stuff like that, it's better if they just get it off the website. Now, Marius, over to you. I've got your banking details below this video, so people can just, if they want to donate, they can just pay money straight into your bank account. Just in closing, anything you'd like to add?
What I want to add is for all the people out there believing in us, the people supporting us, without your support, EBS will not be working. We're totally dependent on you people. The youngsters are dependent on you people. So the young guys, please join the EBS. We also got a website, www.ebs.rsa. Join that. There's no fees involved. We're non-profit. We take the youngsters, we pay them forward. And also, it's not a tickle only for the Boer staying on the farm, it's also for the Boer in the urban, in the city, that shares the same ethnic breeding as us. Then just for the people out there, I don't want to boost, but if they want to go to guerrilla warfare or whatever, if they think they're going to be guerrillas, EBF will be the silverback. Thank you so much.
Now, could you just repeat that website address for me again, because I'll put it up on here.
Sorry, it's www.
Yeah.
EBS.
Yeah.
.rsa.
Dot what?
.rsa. EBS.
Oh, RSA. Republic of South Africa.
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha.
.com.
All right. Okay, fantastic. Look, I just want to thank our two guests who've joined us tonight. We certainly had a fantastic outcome, and that's always a wonderful thing. And I want to thank our moderators who always do a fantastic job in the side chat. And also all those people who've actually viewed this video. Thank you for being part of the live stream. I hope our discussion tonight has answered a whole lot of questions regarding what's happening with EBS and Boerelegioen. And as I said, in a couple of months' time, I'm going to try and schedule another live stream so we can see how things are going and what sort of work they're doing together. And Marius, keep those videos coming to me. I always put them up, and that's a good way to promote what you're doing to the public. All right. So with that, I'm going to shut down, guys. Please be safe, and please have a good evening. And don't forget, Sunday night I'm talking to Patrick and Sean, and we're going to be talking about the Williston food and feed drop to over 150 farming families. They're in a very desperate state, and the ANC government has totally neglected them. So Sunday night, there's a live stream. Wednesday night, there's a live stream with Chris regarding this gold scheme. And then on the 16th, that's next Saturday, the whole day, or during the day, we're going to be going live to cover the delivery of the feed and the food with Patrick at Williston. So please mark those days and times in your diaries. All right, guys, take care. I'm going to sign out now. Catch you soon. Bye for now.